Hello everyone, Darren here, and welcome to this brand new Let's Play series in Endzone, A World Apart, a brutal, post-apocalyptic city builder slash survival game. Now the first 3 videos of this series are sponsored on behalf of Assemble Entertainment in celebration of the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series S and X version of the game, called Endzone, A World Apart Survivor Edition. Now the console version of the game has a UI and control overhaul, and also comes bundled with the Prosperity DLC, but in this series, we're also going to be taking a look at the recently released DLC on PC, Distant Places, which will allow us to build a balloon to venture off map, meet eccentric characters, and uncover lost secrets. But in order to just jump straight into that content, the series is going to start about 60 seasons into the game, where the basics of my town have already been set up, and I'm just starting to unlock the technologies necessary to access the DLC. This game is pretty tough. I've played it before, but when playing it again to get to Season 60, I failed numerous times. Droughts, radiation, raids, everything is just working against you, so careful planning is really important. I'll be explaining what's happening as we go, getting you caught up as to the layout of everything that's already there and how everything works, but please do make sure to click the link in the description to find out more about the game. It really helps me and my channel out, so please do consider clicking that link. Alright, without further delay, let's begin. Alright ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the colony of Libra. And you join us on this precarious evening just as we're being attacked by a small raiding party, I think from Liam the Prophet, who basically was demanding tribute from us, and I have wholeheartedly refused that tribute. Our watchtowers are now going to be firing back on him, and of course we had to create ammunition and supply these guys and take people off different jobs in order to defend ourselves. Now this should be a pretty small raiding party. It's hard to see in the dead of night here, but it shouldn't be too bad. It looks like we're about to be actually dealt with them, and then we'll get a bit of a report as to how this defense went.
These souls had struck out on the path to a better life. You had to kill all of them. Was it worth it?
He makes a good point. We could have actually used rubber bullets, but I chose to use lethal force. Alright, so let's view our losses. We only lost 1. Not too bad at all. I was over-prepared, if anything. I did have 2 watchtowers on this side, which is pretty damn good. And then we spent 150 munitions doing this. We have to repair certain buildings that maybe got shot up a bit. We did lose 1 soldier, 1 life as well in this attack. Leave us in peace. So, Elizabeth tells us that we beat the attackers. We were able to gather up some of the gear that they had with them. Some of these things could be used to, could prove to be extremely useful. So after gaining from that attack, scrap, some berries, some neck scarves, water, and walnuts. So just gonna hit OK, let time play, and then get you caught up on what the situation is with this game if you're unfamiliar with it. So let's go through. I think the best way to probably explain the game while we're doing different things, we're building, I'm kind of demolishing buildings over here at the moment, is go through the UI and talk through some of the resources and what you do in this game. So we've got water, which is obviously the lifeblood of our economy, really. You can't do anything without it. And then we have food. Obviously both of those are very important, and they can be contaminated with radiation. We have to kind of filter them and cleanse them and make sure they're okay. Then we've got wood and scrap, the 2 main resources of the game. Scrap is refined and broken up into cloth, metal, plastic, and electronics. All of which we actually got a decent amount of, and it's done in these buildings called recyclers. But I'm about to build a refinery, this kind of bigger building that kind of encapsulates all 4 resources. Normally you have a recycler and you say, yeah, I want you just to separate out the cloth, I want you to separate the metal and whatever. Now I'm going to get one big building that does it all. So I'm kind of undergoing a bit of an upheaval and a big change to the economy. An upgrade, really, is really the word I'm looking for. So let's just destroy some of these other things that are kind of in the way here. And I needed to go into our logistics section, just remove this section of the road as well. And that should work out just fine. Right, so that's your basic economy, okay? And then we've got our population, right? We have 183 adults and we have 40 children currently. And the green bars in each of these children's names here is when they're about to reach adulthood. So they're about to, we're about to get 6 kids here becoming adults. And I've actually got a little problem on my hands. So you joined me at a very interesting and precarious time, as I've said. Actually, just one thing I want to do really quickly is just take all the jobs off of the watchtowers now. They're no longer needed. I've got 3 in total, so I'll just turn these off. The attack is over, so they can just be paused sort of permanently for a while. It's good to have a couple militia on them, I think, just to transport in the ammunition. They spend bullets and they store them in these buildings, so we got to make them in an ammunition factory, which takes raw materials out of the mines and so on and so forth. So the way the game works is it is a logistics and refinement economy. It's about people moving resources around to various different places so that they can refine them into the things you need. Something else I need to do as well is I think we've got a mission at the forum for that. We've got dead bodies on our streets, probably because of the attack and probably a little bit before that. More and more dead bodies are accumulating. Yeah, so I actually ended up taking some of those militia were previously the morticians. So we can turn the graveyard or the cemetery back on and supply it with 3 morticians, and that should complete that task. Yeah, so that's fine. We've already have the cemetery built, so someone's going to get out there and clear up these bodies. So that'll be fine. There's probably not too many, to be honest, anyway. Right, so in order to get to the DLC content, which is why I'm starting at Season 66 here, because it's kind of mid-game, yeah, I'd say middle game, borderline late game content as you're getting through it. We needed a research station up and running already. In here, we then need to go to Technology and Defense and research Balloon Station. Now, Balloon Station requires a lot of resources just to get started in terms of research, and then even more to actually get built. But I'm going to queue it up now anyway, even though we're hurting for certain things already. And it's going to take a little while to get done, so I hope by the end of the episode we'll sort of get the building built and start to go on our expedition, and then the next one we can kind of actually experience some of that new content first and foremost. And this episode is more just to get you familiar with the game and my current economy. By the way, I am in no way good at this game. I find it very difficult, very challenging indeed. I'm only playing on normal and I still struggle quite a bit. So we're just about to done clearing that area. We've got 2 blueprints here for big shelters that I want to build, because these are all of our problems down on the bottom of the screen. And I kind of cut myself off. We've got 185 adults, and a problem that I'm having is our population is growing just a little bit too fast. We're having a bit of a population explosion lately, and even though I've kept children at a pretty consistent rate, which should kind of encourage this to taper off a bit, I actually ended up taking in a bunch of extra population a while ago from an expedition I did. So that kind of brought an influx of people in, which is great. We have extra workers and things like that, but of course that's then going to be more mouths to feed and, you know, more people to drink. I don't know what the equivalent of mouths to feed is for drinking. More mouths to hydrate. Anyways, so in order to do that, I've set up all these new farms. I'm kind of reorganizing parts of the economy over here, and then we're going to build some shelters. Now, shelters are different than houses. If I use this view right here, we can see everything in green is a house. This is where my people live, and out here as well. Green actually represents how attractive the settlement is. The gray is just letting us know that that's a house that isn't currently getting any attractiveness. Anyway, because it's a logistics economy where time is everything, time to get to your job and come back and get to water and get to food and get the goods and move them around to refine them, because that's such a big factor, I've gone for a layout here which I think is relatively smart or good, which is, you know, having my population sort of split down the middle in the center of the town, and then the kind of refinement economy on the right and the food economy on the left, and some other kind of water producing buildings up in the north. And that way no one has any super massive distance to get to anything they need to. The blue buildings then are sort of like amenity buildings. We have campfires for people to go chill at, decorations and things like that, just whatever. We've got some storage buildings, and then some of these yellow buildings are like industry. They're causing a negative influence to attraction, but that's not really important to talk about right now. Also, right before this happened, we had a sandstorm blow in, which kind of damaged a lot of the houses and just other buildings in general, so people are working on fixing that. So you join me, like I say, at a really precarious time. I'm trying to push and push and push so we can get the balloon station up and running, get to the distant places content, but I maybe am pushing a little too hard because the economy can't quite keep up with it. And I know that by the amount of people that I've brought in, I'm going to have a food shortfall. Food is my biggest concern right now. I used to have about 10,000, and now it's only, you know, teetering on the edge of 5,000. So it's clear to me that we are just consuming a bit too much. Now, some of these farms, you'll notice, I've got paused, and that's in order to move the workforce around. So the last thing I guess I need to talk to you about is, in order to explain how certain things work in the game, is it's all done on job priority systems. So if I have a look at a building here, for instance, this farm, right? The cultivated field can have 4 people working it, and currently we have 14 people dedicated to being a farmer. So over here we can see we can have a max of 28 farmers if we want every single farm maxed out. And we can choose, we can say, no, I never want more than just one person working this farm, and then that's the overall profession. And that's the storage limit of all the goods that we're making. So hopefully you're able to follow along with that pretty easily if you've never played the game before. Like, so for instance, again, with this water tower, what people are doing is they're just literally going out to the lake, getting a bucket, bringing the water in and dumping it in this tower, and this tower is filtering it by using coal to help filter out the radiation. So there are 40 people as water carriers right now in my game, and 10 of them are working this building. So they're just constantly just filling it up, sustaining obviously different farms, sustaining the livestock that we have. Where's my livestock? Here it is right here. Things like that. So a lot of things consume water, not just people. Obviously the plants and everything. And then we've got irrigation facilities all around, keeping the radiation at bay. This is a radiation view. We can see that, generally speaking, it's low around us, but it's still radiation that we don't want. So a trader has just arrived.
Greetings from up here. Ole Sorensen is back in town again with some exotic delicacies waiting to be unpacked.
Alright, after all, memory seriously, there's always been... Yeah, so we've got a bit of a reputation with this guy based on what we've given him before. If you build that reputation up, you can kind of get a better deal out of them. But if you squeeze them a little too hard for those better deals, their reputation will fall back down. Now, he's offering up iodine. He's got some interesting things, but I don't think we're going to take on anything. It's tempting to take the apples, but they're highly irradiated, so I think I'll probably just leave it. So I'm just going to say no for now. But I'd really like to get us some new seeds so we can grow some different things. Anyways, so in order to keep the workforce more appropriate, I've decided to pause these fields while they're growing. In fact, this one can be worked on now, and pretty much this one as well. So let's get building. Now that I've cleared some territory, my focus for now is food, and of course we're constantly feeding in resources into the research station in order to get the balloon station, which is part of the Distant Places DLC content, so that we can actually go somewhere else and make some deals abroad. Speaking of going elsewhere, out here on the map, I was going to hit escape, I guess I can't. We've been exploring the nuclear power plant that's on the edge of the map. So I just told this guy to go out here, pick up some stuff, and then come back. So he can get some electronics or metal. Just tell him, bring back metal, because we're going to need it. Safe trip home. So basically, out here, it's an actual place on the map. There's all these points of interest around the map where people will go and explore. And then once they've kind of scavenged and explored everything, you can then break the buildings down for scrap materials. So these are massive scrap areas, but it's so far out that it's going to be a long time before we really get set up out there. Alright, I think I've caught everyone up. I know it can be a bit confusing. Obviously then in the middle we have our how content people are, how happy they are in general, how sick they are with radiation poisoning, and how healthy they are overall. So you can have a lot of radiation but not be that sick for a while, but then it will start to have a debilitating effect on people. They'll become infertile and they won't breed, and your economy will fall apart. Alright, so my main objective right now is to just prepare for the next oncoming drought. We actually don't know when it's going to be, but the lakes will dry up for a short period of time, and we're going to run out of food. So something I know that I need to do, food-wise, is the earlier we get done with this, the better, is set up a pasture here. I'll just do, yeah, like one there and another one here. And we'll start getting new animals in there, because I've actually got lots of water, so we can supply new animals with things. Now all those symbols on the ground this is irradiated or radiated territory, and we need to clear that radiation before we can build, so it takes a little while. And then the builders are going to get to work on that. We'll just do one at a time actually, and then yeah, we'll just stick in. We've got deer, so we can just stop harvesting them now or slaughtering them now, and then move one or two of them across so they can start breeding in their own pastures. And then it's a bit of an investment, but over time we should start to see the fruits of our labor on that one. Something else I need to do is we've got a big scrapyard up here taking apart this town, because I've largely explored it all except this part. So I'm actually going to tell you not to do that. Just I want you to grab the scrap that's right here. So I'm putting the ring here. That they should grab this scrap first, because I know that I've had a look around before. I want to build another fishing jetty, and the only kind of area I can really do that is right around here, but this is blocking it a bit. Now there's another one I can do in the top, so I'm going to start building that as well. I'll just let time play now as well. So yeah, something like this. It says 100% efficiency, so that's fine by me. Get another fishing hut up and running. And to be honest, that's actually a priority, I would say. So build that one next. Now, people who do know this game are probably screaming because they've noticed I got 34 settlers not really doing anything. So what I need to get them doing quickly is just, we're short on materials, wood especially. So just grab all the plants, grab all the resources out here. People who are unassigned jobs are just going to go out there and start doing that stuff. So it should help a little bit, and I'll just get a few more builders for now. It's not really much else I can do. I suppose just assign more farmers. And Ah, yeah, more teachers. We're building another school right now. Not too much else to do on that front. Let me just check a few other buildings. So, I have a Forester's Lodge turned off here. Just going to bring that up to 8 workers total because I've got 2 of them. Right, so there's one up here. That's currently cutting down. This is currently set to cutting down as well. So they're cutting down this forest. You can, of course, reforest or just reforest. Cut down and reforest or just reforest. But I'm hurting for resources. I'm choosing to build a lot all at once, and we have to load up this an incredible amount. So I'm going to increase the amount of logisticians I have as well, which I think helps things move around just a little bit. And I think that's basically it. So I'm just going to move to ×2 speed now. You can see everyone just going forward, grabbing all the water they can. So they can't work all day. They have to, you know, go back home, have some leisurely time. So that's why you need so many people bringing it in constantly. And then when there's a drought, those are the days where you can't bring in any. And you reassign those people to do something else. So I'm going to be waiting for this scrap pile to go away. And I'm going to be monitoring my farms. Now I've noticed something as well. That we're not clearing that road as fast as I'd like. Maybe I'll say building roads goes up above repairing buildings. I'll see how that goes. So this farm is planted, but it's just going to be growing. So we don't actually need to tend it. Same with this one. So our workforce can disperse onto the other farms that are a bit more important. Let's just say it's a little bit of a way to min-max your population and get them onto the farms that matter the most, I suppose. Every time these lamps go into the air, it means someone's been buried, or there's been a burial going on. So this has been cleared. Wood has been loaded up here. They're looking for metal, and then we want to get a big refinery here. But I'm waiting for them to remove the damn road. Get on it. But I guess I've spread my worker and my builders a bit too thin, probably. Maybe. We're also waiting to house them. So if we look down in the bottom, we can see actually what the situation is. We've got 35 people homeless. 55 are contaminated. Now if we click that, we can actually see exactly who is. So if we pick out this little chap, you can see Ivan, an adult. And that's, I guess, where he is in his lifespan. Radiation and then health. He's currently carrying a tool, and he is slightly educated. So there we go. Now obviously being educated, having a tool, and if he works one specific job for a while, you can get a badge that makes him kind of better at that thing. And then badges, if you use an expedition station, like this building right here, we can send them out across the map and do different expeditions, which I'm actually going to do right now. There's a building out here that I've explored already, a cake shop with a bunch of food here. So we're going to configure an expedition. We've got too many of these settlers not doing anything. So Isabel, Fabian and Tia, maybe, and Rachel. You guys just head out. I don't need to equip them with anything because we've already discovered it, uncovered it. We just need to literally get this stuff out of there now. But when you're first exploring an area that you've never been to, you'll have to equip an expedition with different tools, different items, rations, and then you kind of go through a choice system on which room do you break into, and what risks do you assess on whether to do that or not. If you give them the best equipment, they can usually get through pretty good. But if you're risking it and they don't have great equipment, they could get injured or they could die. Or the goods that they're trying to get could, you know, I don't know, get destroyed somehow. They could fall and smash or whatever. Alright. So it's a bit of a chaotic time, like I said. Luckily, actually, we've just gotten our next pasture up and running. So I'm going to increase this to 6 pasture workers, farmers, I guess you could call them. Because we've actually got a farmer profession for tilling the land. But these are, I guess, livestock professionals. We want to build this one as well, but I'm going to wait on that just a little bit longer. This is now built as well, an additional fishing hut. There's still the scrap pile out here, if I'm not mistaken. Oh no, we've cleared it actually. We cleared the one I wanted to. So let's build yet another fishing hut. Like I said, I'm doing all this as a desperate measure because I feel like we're going to run out of food. I don't want to die before we get to the distant places stuff. So logistics, let's get a road just attached onto here. You don't have to do that, but it does speed things up slightly. And I can tell the scrap workers just to bring your scrap back to here. Actually, it'd probably be good to clear around the lake first to create more space. Anyway, with those, that's an extra food source. We're constantly bringing in fish. We should be constantly bringing in fish from here. Let's turn that on. Get people working it. In anticipation of, I'm sure, another drought will occur probably in a couple of days. It's actually been quite a while since I've had one. And that's going to be pretty devastating because it takes all your fish offline, takes all your water offline. So you got to store up and be ready for those days. Alright, looking good. How many people do we have not doing anything? We've only got 5 people not doing anything now, which is good. And they're going to do these random tasks. So they're pulling in wood and things like that. The balloon research station, they still need another 100 wood there, another 100 scraps. It's going to take a little while. This is almost full on food, so I'll turn these farms back on. Let them do their thing. Alright, cool. So, while I'm letting time play, just on slow, we'll start to build our resource economy. So like I said, I'd previously used recyclers to separate out the scrap, but now I'm going to be using a refinery, which I unlocked via technology. And I'll just slot it right in there. That's a big building. Won't be able to build it just yet, and that's okay. We've actually got lots of the scrap materials, so we're fine for a little while. I'm waiting for that. By the way, I didn't even know for a very long time, but you can build in blueprint mode like this by pressing J. So planning mode off, planning mode on. What that does is it just puts down a building as you normally would, but it just toggles this automatically. So if I was to not use blueprint mode and I just put a building down, it looks like a blueprint, but it automatically adds it to the job queue of people to do things, and you could just prevent that happening if you use blueprint mode, because it just deactivates it immediately. Which is a nice tip. Alright, so the pasture, this next pasture is the next one I want it working. We've got 5 people being able to work that. This is 2 people working on this. Builders, that is. Looking good. Looking good. How's the homeless situation? So we built another shelter. And it's just done now. Literally just got done now. It's actually quite an attractive place, apparently. Okay. It's because of its connection to various things, and we're not too far across from something I actually found while I was looking around the world map on an expedition. I found a pioneer statue. Speaking of expedition, did that expedition come back? Oh, they're being gathered currently. So those 3 people I've assigned are getting ready to go out. Now, something else I want to do is we have an irrigation plant here. So all through my settlement, I've got these irrigation plants. And what that's basically doing is it's taking in water, and it's assigned to low irrigation, which is basically just keeping the radiation at bay. But what they can also do is be sent to like more medium or high, which they take in obviously more water, but then they sustain your crops. So even if you have a drought, they can keep them going. Because all the soil will get drowned out. So if we go to soil moisture, it's constantly in flux based on rain, based on if you're having the weather, you know, if it's really hot, there's no rain, you actually get a drought or a sandstorm or whatever. So things can get really dry really quickly, and that will obviously just halt your farm production or slow it way down. So farms grow based on their soil moisture. So if you keep what I was going to call them, radiation plants, irrigation plants around here, then obviously the soil stays nice and moist, and your farms are going to be good. So let's get a new cultivation field down here, because this is actually a nice circle that we're not really using for that. So this is actually originally used just to keep radiation at bay, but I'm going to double it up as one that can actually grow us new food. So something, I guess we can bring it all the way out like this, and then I'll bring another one out, maybe more like, yeah, maybe I'll just move it a bit forward. It's not the nicest looking farm ever, but they're going to cut down these trees, which is fine by me, and then we can assign these to have various seeds. Now, much like a game like Banished or something, there are lots of seeds in the game. Some of them have come with DLC, both the latest DLC and the previous one, Prosperity. But I think there's about, I don't know, 8 or 9 by default, and getting them, you get them through expeditions by venturing out into the world. So we've got our crew are venturing out now. We can see them with their 3 backpacks. Actually, sorry, the 4 of them. So we have Isabel, Tia, Fabian, and Rachel, and they're going to head off to that spot that was out here somewhere on the map. I can't exactly remember where, to loot the cake shop and bring back some food, as we're desperately going to need it. But they might also come across some, well, they won't because we know what's there, but on a different place they could come across some seeds, and those seeds can then be used to grow a variety of different food. They have different growth rates, different, I think they have different moisture consumption. I know that animals do, but I'm not sure actually about whether or not the agricultural things grow differently based on water consumption. You think they would? I assume they do. They definitely have different growth rates anyway, that's for sure. Also, we have our orchards. So our orchards are actually pretty much ready to be harvested as well. So we'll just turn this on. Good. We arguably do have too many builders now, so let's just reduce that down just a little bit. And we'll speed time up again. So these 2 water tanks are completely full, which is great to see. Although, I guess I would rather them now load into these ones, which are empty. These are empty because there's a lot more buildings around here that just constantly depend on them, so people just go to these ones first. But if they need to, they'll go to the other ones. We've got another trader arriving. Oh, it's the same guy, actually.
Up here. Ole Sorensen is back in town again with some exotic delicacies waiting to be on.
Yeah, interesting. So he's got food again. Goat meat. 1,300 is quite a lot. And what does he want from me? Electronics, maybe. So we could do a little trade. Maybe it's medium radiation on this, but we have decontamination kits, so we can probably make that not so bad. So let's say, yeah, I don't mind giving him lots of electronics. Actually, it's fine by me. You can have 58 electronics. It's no problem at all. Give us a ton of food till we get this into a. Yeah, look at that. We can get 1,300 food for 58 electronics. I'm totally happy with that. All right, we'll do the deal.
Glad to be able to do business with you.
So what's going to happen now is he'll stay there, and because it's a logistics economy, people have to now bring 58 electronics here, and then they'll have to like pile out the. He can fly off then, but then they'll have to like pile out the food and deliver it around. But that should keep us going, even though it's going to be irradiated. If we have decontamination kits, right? This is a decontamination post. They make these kits based on water and coal, which we've got plenty of, and then they supply them in a radius of food buildings, like where buildings are stored. So we have it touching on quite a few buildings. I could probably do something more like this. Might be a bit better. No, it doesn't seem to change anything, actually. So yeah, not only do we have the big storage buildings like our town center and things like that, but we also have food stockpiles and food stations dotted around where people can, instead of having to run all the way back to the town center every time, they can just stop off at these different places and get their food that way. And it just, again, cuts down on journey time. Now, I just realized something. We have a lot of people without protective clothing. We've got a lot of people without tools. Just to speed things up, we've got to let them all get what they need for now. I've actually got some of it stockpiled, and they're just going to grab everything we have now, pretty much. And that'll give us a little productivity boost. I like doling it out when I can, rather than supplying it constantly. It's very difficult to supply it constantly. And I had a few people tell me, it's like, yeah, well, you don't really need to give it to them constantly. They'll complain. They'll work a little slower, but the sacrifice of having to put people in buildings refining scrap, which is a limited resource, by the way. You know, it's not, you do run out eventually, and you have to get scrap collectors that will kind of grab it from the atmosphere, which is quite a slow process. So early on, I think it's better spent not having your tools and just doling them out when you're running into problems. Like, we're running into food problems now, so giving everyone the tools and the radiation protection, at least right now, should give us a temporary reprieve from all that stuff. And we're keeping food relatively balanced right now, which isn't too bad. Alright, so this pasture now has 3 deer in it. This one has none. We're going to just increase that to 9 workers. And this one has 2. So it's always going to maintain a 2 unless we tell it to slaughter by reducing this down below that. We could kill all of the animals and shift them out into something else if we wanted to. But ideally, we want these pastures up and running for quite a while at max capacity before we begin to slaughter any animals. Because it's more... this is what we rely on for food when the fisheries go offline, you know? Alright, so what are we currently building? Let's take a bit of stuff. Actually, let's get our cultivation fields up and running with more squash. Yeah, looking pretty good. Alright, things are... I'm gaining my confidence back a little bit. And how's the balloon station going? So there we go. It's starting to research now. So they have what they need for it. It's actually kind of interesting because it's not as straightforward as it seems. In order to even get to this... So there's different currencies that you need to spend in order to research something. You build up knowledge points by having scientists working in a research station for a while, so that's pretty straightforward. But then also, you have to find research utensils, and that sort of gates the tiers of research. So in order to get research utensils, you have to venture out into the world with your expedition. So our expedition's on its way out here, remember? And by uncovering different places, you'll find research utensils. Typically at places like the nuclear power plant or scientific facilities or old end zones. The end zones are sort of like the vaults underground, so they'll have different things in there stockpiled. You want to go loot them, get your research utensils, and then that'll allow you to progress technology. So because we've already done that, now we can get the balloon station. It takes 3 of those, so we have to go to 3 different places and get lucky and find those specific things. Just gonna limit that one. That's, yeah, they're being harvested, so food's coming up. All right, things are looking pretty good. Pretty much into regular Let's Play mode now, where we're just gonna be waiting until this reaches 100%, and then we'll be able to build that building, and then we'll be able to go look at the Distant Places content and DLC, because I actually haven't really seen it. I know, broadly speaking, from the trailers and stuff, what goes on in it, but I haven't actually engaged with it yet. And then we really need to get this building up and running, so it's time to get that online now, and now we can start refining scrap into clothes. And while they're building that, just in blueprint mode, we'll start working out getting tailors up and running and starting to make protective clothing again. So I think 4 would probably be good. They can be upgraded later. And then what we want is a workshop to make tools. Oh, actually I still have a workshop up and running here. I'm just going to dismantle that one. Put one somewhere like this, I guess. Just getting a bit more compact. And then we've got a storeroom there for them, so they can just drop their stuff in there instead of having to go too far. So yeah, let's just toggle on some of these things. We'll tell them to make activated carbon masks, because that requires coal and cloth, which we have a decent amount of. Now, how many people do we have not doing anything? 10. Clearing out this area still does, so that's not too bad. And do we have any jobs at the forum? We had to stockpile supplies of food. It wants us to store 7,300 food. Not going to happen. Water, it wants us to store 14,000. Pretty close, and we needed to make 34 masks. Unfortunately, I won't be quick enough to do that, so that's going to run out before we do it. Could have given us a happiness boost with that. Oh well. So inside the forum building, it's kind of a cool building. You can do decrees. So we could banish all the children, or we could banish the elderly. If you just cannot sustain people and you need to get rid of some, you could do that, or birth control. And it lasts for a few seasons. Obviously, it makes people very unhappy when you're telling them how to live. We don't have enough housing. Yeah, I could try fix this. So what do we need to do? Number of settlers to be housed is 14, and we'll get a batch of wood and scrap actually doing that, which is pretty forgiving. Let's just activate this building then. Once they build that, we'll get the resources back pretty much straight away. Now, I'm going to turn off the use of all these tools. So the people that have them, They're going to use them. The people that have the protective clothing, they're going to use it. But now no one's allowed claim anymore. We're going to just store them up until a radiation storm or something comes by, you know, a time where they really need it. Our population continues to grow rather worryingly, because I feel like we're going to breach 200. And I don't really want to go that high. Target reached, so just load up with everything you can. Bring all that food back. Cherry, apple, hard liquor, and pears. Alright, on your way home. So the hard liquor is used in a pub. This is our pub. And they're currently set to just consuming hard liquor. I think they can have beer as well, but you have to be making it. I'm currently not. Food variety is pretty damn good. We're at 11, and we still have some knowledge stored up. Alright, we'll speed up to ×3 now. Every time you hear that heartbeat, it means someone's died for some reason that's probably not good. They might have been in poor health or something. Now, if they're in poor health, we make medicine that gets doled out to people. We make that medicine by gathering herbs and then refining it with doctors and stuff into medicine. And later on, you can get like iodine tablets to reduce radioactiveness. Don't know why I keep getting confused with how to say that word. Radiation. There we go. Alright. Yep, so we're just waiting on the refinery to get done. And then these other buildings will start getting made as well. As long as we got the workforce, they'll just bring the goods. And as long as we got the goods, it will just happen. So there's no point having these paused. They can just work on them. What I might do is build another farm here. I don't think I need another one of these. Maybe another workshop tucked in like that. And then I tell you what, a food station in between would be good for logistics, so people can just grab food out here rather than having to go too far. It would fit rather nicely like that, but it doesn't really quite make sense. I might just tuck it in this way then. The green line is their entrance to getting it. And then we'll just build some roads. Alright, cool. Not perfect, but it'll do. Alright, well, I'm actually pretty happy. We are storing food. I feel like I've solved that, or slightly solved that crisis for now. Food stations are full up. We have the pastures are basically generating deer until they reach full numbers, and when they reach full numbers, they'll be making food instead. How's our scrap doing out here? Yeah, we're clearing it nicely. Obviously, it takes a lot of time to do that. We're kind of running a little low. So maybe just get them to start working on buildings as well. Good. Yeah, the good thing is I guess we had all the workers to do all this stuff. My mines are offline right now, so coal is falling. You can actually increase the storage limit of coal as well. So for settlers being housed, we're waiting on this to be done. So I'll just keep time moving. And how's the balloon station? We're almost halfway done. Now we can get the building set up. Unfortunately, we weren't able to make the numerous voices happy. This is the other task, so I don't know if we're going to get a unhappiness debuff. It looks like things are just going to maintain a status quo, which is okay by me. Greta. Professionals are complaining about a lack of tools. Maybe we ought to build a workshop. I'm going to say no. I am building a workshop, but I don't know if they're going to want me to supply tools. I'm not going to do that for a while. Better look next time. Alright, good. Now, we know that wood is we're gonna get a big influx of wood, so we could just set this now to reforest. And I'll set this to reforest as well, actually. And they could just begin replanting this area. In fact, I might even move it just a bit closer. That's the area that they work in, but they still have to come from the building. So you generally want the building in the center so that it's equidistant around to the radii of the circle. But I'd have to rebuild the building that way. Alright, looking good. We do have a few little problems with the numbers are getting better. 10 people who are in poor health. And we've got everyone working in here, making the... Do we have herbs, actually? It seems like we're struggling to store herbs. So let's increase the amount of herbs. What do they call it? Gatherers, I guess? Herbalists. Yeah, herbalists. Alright, cool. This field is pretty much ready to go. This field is almost ready to go. That one is planted 100%, and that one is planted 100%. This one is ready to be harvested as well. Just tell them to harvest now. And this one is not. Okay. Awesome. Alright, I'm very happy that the numbers are ticking on up. We have no mention of a drought, actually, which is good. I really did think that we'd have one very soon. That's why I was panicking a bit. And yeah, this can be harvested as well. So food is taken care of. It seems. We're gaining, and even though our population is gaining all the time. But we seem to be evening that out and storing just a little bit extra. So that's pretty good. Okay. Now we have a lot of dry, arid terrain pushing in on us. We're dried out right now. Oh, we've got another type of trader coming in here. Love it if they gave us the technology to make one of those, you know. I guess that's kind of what we were going to be doing. Let's check the radiation situation. So I might build this irrigator as well to get rid of radiation here. What do you got? Oh.
Hey, if that isn't my absolute favorite customer.
It's old T. Barra. So she's got 2 goats to offer. We don't have any goats. Interesting. Could load them into the pasture instead. And that way they'd produce milk. Deer don't produce milk. That's probably quite a hefty thing, though. We'd have to exchange that. We've got 32 hemp in storage, which I don't really need. Could give her ammunition, which I'd rather not. We don't have any scrap to give her. We got tons of mushrooms. Now, I've built her reputation up really well, so I could give her maybe 500 mushrooms? Somewhere along that number. Now that's not a very good deal. It would tank our reputation, but she might take it.
T. Barra is truly trying to grasp what just happened. I mean...
Times are tough, I know, but do you really want to hoodwink T. Barra like this? So she's not going to take it. Even though her reputation's really good, she's not going for that. A little bit of ammunition, a few bullets. 20 bullets I'll throw in as well. What about that?
What the...
God, that cough. Yeah, she's willing to go with this, even though it's not good for her, and it'll bring the reputation down. But that's fine, you know, that's what we built her up for. We gave her good deals before, so that in times of need, when she has something better to offer, we can kind of squeeze it out of her. Which means we can just leave this growing and maybe set this one to just slaughter now. I don't know if you can move them from one into the other. Guys, empty the pasture. All animals of the pasture are either set free or slaughtered. Well, I don't want to set them free, so I'll just slaughter them. Yeah, so slaughter. There we go. Oh no, there they go. Task completed. Hey, we got our influx of wood and scrap. Perfect. And then before this deal can happen, we have to load up all this stuff before we can actually get the goats in there. Alright, cool. Let's speed up time a little bit more. Research is going good for the balloon station. And, oh yeah, sorry, I actually forgot. We've built this, but I didn't assign anyone to it. So this is our refineries. We're very low on cloth now. So let's just pause electronics. Let's pause plastics. Work on, I'll pause metal for a little while. Just work on getting more cloth, because we're very low. And then these guys, I think we need, yeah, we're getting low on population now. But that's okay, we can just reduce the amount of builders. We had time of crisis for those builders. We don't need as many now. So 8. So you can only have 2 per building. So 2, 4, 6, 8. They're all making carbon masks. They need coal for that, so we can turn back on the mines. Just have 2 mines up and running with an even amount on both, 2 and 2. We can actually have a few more. Let's maybe do 6, so 3 and 3. And that should get things moving again. Also, if you want to min-max a little... Well, these guys are reforesting, actually. I was going to say we're maxed out on wood, so they don't need to grab anything. Scrap. I'll just increase the production limit so they can store a few more and keep that building running. Now, they're gathering radiated food, but I think we've got decontamination kits in here. And this is the number of resources that it can decontaminate, so we can still store a lot more in here. It'll be okay, I think. They'll be cleaned and cleansed. How's the water situation? It's starting to dip a little bit. It hasn't rained in a while, so our rainwater collectors don't really do much. Although they're actually... Yeah, I just realized. Let's just pause those. We don't want to be gathering from them. We just want them to fill up naturally, and then when there's a drought, then we want to gather from them. We only want to gather from the jetty while it's there, and the lake. Now, our guys came back. We can send them out again to another place that we've already experienced, or we can go somewhere we've never been. A house ruin, a factory. I want to go somewhere where we'll get new seeds. So... see, so we'll just mark this for salvaging. We've already cleared that place completely. We have a bar. So I've already like sent scouts out to find these places, so I know what's there. The thing is, we need to bring iodine tablets to go to this place and uncover it properly, which I don't have any. Whereas a diner might be a bit easier. Would there be seeds at a diner? Maybe. Train station, doctor's office, ruin. Medication actually might be a good idea, so let's configure an expedition to go there. So if we say we want people with settlers badges and due to their education advantage, so we can get Benjamin, who's got both of these. We can get Katharina, so it's not Katarina, but close. And then give them a tool, metal tools. Give them some rations, maybe 12, 6 each. You don't need any protective clothing. They've actually already got some, so you can just go. Small little expedition, see what they find there. It'll take them a while to get their stuff and head out. We're almost loaded up for T-Bara to give us our goats. I love the idea that she's come here with goats on her airship. I suppose that's what you have to do. We've also maxed out our houses again. So what I'm going to do, we've got houses here. It doesn't look like it, but these are sturdy houses, and these are just regular cabins. So we can upgrade a couple of these. Increases storage space. Yeah, and I think I'm going to build another farm here. Bit of space here, and it's within an irrigated area, so it kind of makes sense. And we'll try use lupine, which is a bit quicker to get. but doesn't yield quite as much. But it's a little bit of variety. It's good for them. Alright, these different buildings are being built now as well, and they're making scrap tools. Want to make them get metal tools. Our economy should be good enough for that. And they're starting to store activated carbon masks now, which helps with medium radiation. So when we get bad weather, I guess it can be useful. Alright, good. Let's just keep time moving. The trade deal is being closed, so let's go to our second pasture and say we want goats now. There we go. 2 goats will be delivered in here, and we'll start getting milk from them. And then we have our deer growing as usual out here. So yeah, food's come up. Nice. Let's see, do we... Oh my god. We've just gotten a sickness broken out across the whole place. So everyone has disease. Ugh. Okay. They have to go to the medical facility. So this is now taking on 26 visitors. People are going to be lining up basically out here. I could just hear them coughing like crazy when we speed up time. That's okay though. We should have a decent amount on hand. Ugh, not really actually. We've got 14 in stock. But I don't know. They'll be fine. They'll be fine. We'll clear up that sickness. It's not a big concern. I think it'll be okay. We have 12 settlers not doing anything. I can get rid of these now as well. Gather all resources. Yeah, let's just gather all that we're about there. So we've also been... With gather all resources, what they're doing is they're actually gathering berries as well. So you have to always be mindful that you're pulling in berries and food and mushrooms and stuff while you're gathering. So when there's a drought, you also lose access to that. All the berries shrivel up and die and stuff, so... Alright, we're at 203 population. 40 coming in. That's where I like to see it. Just keep it around that number if we can. And food is looking good. Balloon station is good. And we have our defenses. Our mines are up and running. People are just really sick. That's not a big deal, though. We'll be okay. How's the, Yeah, we might as well just get way more people refining the scrap that we're making. I'll just put it on triple speed now. I'll just move time as quickly as we can. And then we can get that balloon station built. It'll be the final thing we build today. And then in the next episode, we'll venture out and see what's going on. Maybe we'll queue up the expedition if we get time as well. Not sure how big it is. But we'll probably build it on the outskirts somewhere. So what is this? This is just a dry season. It's not necessarily a drought. Very dry. Dried out all around us, but the irrigators are doing a good job of keeping patches of farmland up and running. This needs to be switched to medium, so it's going to take on more water. That's okay, though. Might be worth building another water tower out here, actually, as well, because we need more water carriers. Might just queue one of those up. We have the resources for it. Alright, cool. Yeah, so they're just stocked full of water. That's good. Like to see it. And this one's actually losing some. Nice. Which is what I want to have happen. The reason I actually built these farms up here, it's a little far away from where I'd like it to be, but they're next to the big water towers, so they're going to be filling up with water here, and these are filtered, so they shouldn't affect the animals. That'd be the hope anyway. Oh wow, 18 milk. That's pretty good. Any new quests that we could do? Research in the area of technology. Balanced diet. We've got a really balanced diet at the moment. They're complaining that their diet is lopsided. They'd be glad if you were able to organize more variety. Gather food from, yeah, up from one extra food source. The milk might do that, might do the trick on that the first time we harvest it. And then produce 1,000 food. Okay, let's see if we can get that done. What do we get for it, actually, that mission? 25% increase to happiness. Good. Alright, let time keep moving. So these fields are pretty much done, so let's just stop that. Stop that. So what, basically what I'm doing again, just to reiterate on this, is when the field is planted and you're just waiting for it to grow based on moisture, nobody's doing anything with them. So you don't need workers working it. I kind of wish that they would actually automatically know that and put the workforce elsewhere. Because it does feel like, oh, I guess I'm divided on it. You could just have one worker on each one. That would probably balance things out pretty well. But this way, it's just a bit more efficient to just min-max them, move them around to the various farms. That way they plant, it's 4 people planting a farm rather than just 1 person planting it or harvesting it. The same goes for out here and here. These are almost ready to be harvested, so... This one as well needs to be lupine. I thought I'd already clicked that. Excellent. Our settlers are really happy with the meal plan. Excellent. Good. Yeah, I think we just gave them milk for the first time. Probably. You're getting apples and pears. No, plums. Plums, sorry. Pears don't. Oh, pears do grow on trees, right? Alright, how many people do we have not doing anything? 4. That's good. And 40 sick people. They're not able to practice their function or profession while they're sick. So we're just getting through them as quick as we can here. There's not much we can do. We're gathering as many herbs as I pretty much can without building another one. And I'm reforesting this area. But I guess when things dry out, maybe it's a bit more difficult to get herbs. Yeah, there's not many herbs around here. Alright, let's just keep letting time play. Oh, we've got it. We have the balloon thing. Nice. Okay, cool. So let's get it built. So I think it's in technology, balloon station. The balloon station can be used to send expeditions to far away. Well, let's just build it and then read it. Well, that worked out really well. It just fits exactly right there. It doesn't need to be in the town, right? It's one of these buildings that I think works best on the outskirts. Cool. Oh my god, it's lots of radiation around here though. Not that that really matters, but they'll have to clear it first. Yeah, let's let them do this. Build this next, please. And get to work. Right, so. The balloon station can be used to send expeditions to faraway places. Also, with each completed expedition, it gives the opportunity to take advantage of special trade offers. Can only be built once, 15 by 15. Oncoming drought. Oh, it's in one season. Okay, well, we've got 10,000 water. I think we're okay. We can look at our water consumption. So produced, consumed by settlers, consumed by buildings. So just consumed overall, I think, is all I care about. Okay. Well, for the most part, we're storing in excess that we should... I'm just worried, like, okay, how much is it going to bleed in the next couple of days? These are where we had droughts. Droughts and sandstorms. What about food? So the blue line is our production. So we massively produce a huge amount of food there. And that's obviously as we're harvesting different farms and stuff. And then it goes down for a while and it comes back up. Alright, I think we'll be okay. We seem to have enough in storage. Just saw her floating. It's T-Bara. She's back. Man, they're arriving here pretty frequently. Now, you can actually get a technology to call them instead of waiting to... Because they randomly arrive, I guess. Next scarf's... Hey, medicine! But our reputation isn't as good now, so we're not going to get as good a deal on this. Now, my population is only about... We had 40 sick people. So we don't need any more than 40, right? So we can just ask her, propose a fair deal for this. What would you like? 140 mushrooms for 40? Yeah, hell yeah. I'll give you a bit of sulfur as well. You love that. Sulfur is kind of rare. Well, not rare, but it's difficult to get. Yeah, give us more medicine. Give me like 100, please. I will bring the... That's a good deal, right? You're happy with that?
T-Bearer's always glad to do business with you.
Good. Alright, that's the medicine situation solved. I mean, no one's sick anymore anyway, but at least that'll store up some for a little while. There's only 2 people sick. Yeah, most of them are healed. Great. Alright, so it's going to take a little while. They're just loading this thing up now. And we currently have an expedition that's out in the world. 203, population 44, and we have our new buildings as well. What I'd like to research, actually, if we can, is paved roads. They look a lot nicer. I don't actually know what it takes, though, to make them. Like, how do you make it? I assume concrete or something. Concrete, I believe, arrived with the Prosperity DLC. So I don't know if that's tied to that or not. I guess I'll look in between episodes and find out about that one. Alright, we don't have enough protective clothing. Yeah, I'm sure it's fine. We're at 4 level of radiation for all settlers. Average. Maybe not the best, but it could be worse. So I'm just going to say no. We'll get to that when I can. People are pretty healthy, though, so I'm fine with it. You got to throttle that. You've got to know when to give them what they need. Alright. There we go. Oh yeah, I forgot technicians work in this building too. Alright, cool. So we're making metal tools, we're making that. We're making 16 cloth. So yeah, we can actually let this play as well and get some metal back in because we're kind of getting low on both. So cloth and metal should start coming up. That refiner building is quite handy. You know, that entire place was so many different jobs, but they're making things simultaneously, which is great. It'll take a couple cycles before they actually get metal going, but it'll be fine. And we've got a lot of wood now, so might start looking into the next expansion. I don't really want to build any more. Everyone has houses. The place isn't damaged or anything, so everything's looking quite good. Attractiveness is decent too. Does people have a habit in this type of game to just want to get more and more population all the time? But I think it's better to actually kind of stay relatively small. 200 I think is a pretty good number to be at, or about 250 I would say. Alright, we took on 100 medicine in exchange for 140 mushrooms and some sulfur. Managed population not doing anything, just a good amount. Everything else is looking good. So when that drought hits, probably at the beginning of the next episode, to be honest. We're removing the radiation here. 4 people are going to build this. This is actually going to take a while. I think I'll have to probably end the episode there, and then in the next one, we'll actually build it. So in this one, I've basically shown you kind of what the game is all about, what it takes to get the balloon station, and a little bit of everything, really. I thought I'd actually go into a shortfall, and it looks like water is getting a little tight. So we'll just grab as much as we can, and then when the drought happens, this lake is going to dry up completely. We'll take everyone off the water towers, or for the most part, anyway. Hey, it looks like they have actually been filling these up, or pulling from here, unless they evaporate. I don't think so. The water carriers have probably just been reaching them anyway, so I'm not sure what production does on these buildings. Probably nothing. They just sort of passively fill up. Because I'd rather the priority is set to the jetty. Maybe if anyone knows how to do that, let me know. But things are looking good. Things are looking pretty good. We're actually starting to get food from our second pasture now. You saw a crop rotation situation working, building houses, upgrading them. I think I did a fairly good job showcasing an average hour of gameplay mid-game. And then we've got our expedition who's, I assume, on their way. Yeah, they're only leaving now. Wow, that took a while to get them ready. Alright, that's going to be it for this episode. I'll be back in the next one tomorrow, building the balloon station, venturing to distant places, and I have to make the choice on whether we go north, south, east, or west. I'm thinking north. I want to go somewhere cold. Alright, that's going to be it for me. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Hey guys, thank you very much for watching, and remember, if you want to support this series directly, you can click the join button to become a channel member. Doing so will get your name in the credits, as well as loyalty badges and emotes to use in the comments. If you don't see the join button, it means the video has been copyright claimed, but you can still join from the channel page on desktop. You can also link your account to our Discord to get a special role on there that will give you access to the Senate House and a few other perks.